Hi there. I'm Zoë Landale. Thank you very much for joining me. I am part of the ZoomMuse Poems for Peace, and this is a teaser for the poetry reading that will be happening on Thursday, November the 18th at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Mountain time, 2 p.m. East Coast, and wherever you are in the world, you'll just have to figure it out from there. I've published 8 books. Most of them are poetry. I have a fantasy book and a novel, but in some way, shape, or form, they're all linked to the coast. And I may make it a magic coast. And in the poems, I sort of feel like I live in a magic universe anyway, you know. But yeah, it's writing is it's a very beautiful thing. I feel blessed that I have this in my life. Wow. When I was 6 years old, my parents told me I was going to become a writer. And I don't really like people telling me what to do. So it took me quite some years after that before I actually did become a writer. And I love it. I love what I'm doing. I love being able to write poetry. I find it one of the, highest and purest joys there is around. I taught for 15 years at Kwantlen Polytechnic University, taught creative writing, had some wonderful students. I'm sure I learned just as much from them as they did from me. And I live on Pender Island now, and that is one of the southern Gulf Islands. It's in between Vancouver and British Columbia. It's a lot of rain in the winter and very, very dry in the summer. We worry about fires here. There's just such a high fire risk. It's a small island. There's about 2,000 people on it in the winter. And summertime emergency services tells us it can go up as high as 13,000 for a long weekend. But, you can see it's a small area. And I love the idea of reading poems for peace, because to me, peace is a very active thing. We, sometimes, and it took some friends to put me onto this years and years ago. I think they were involved in a movement that was encouraging people to think about peace as just a much more active process, and one that we did in our daily life. And you can certainly look at it as allied to a spiritual discipline, or if you're in any kind of a spiritual discipline, this is more than likely how you'll be trying to live your life. And I'm very much in love with the coast here. You will see this from the poems that I read. My family came to Vancouver when I was 10 years old. And I've fished commercially on the coast here. I've been up and down, and I'm very, very deeply connected with it. So I'll read a couple of poems for you, and thank you for coming in. Call down the rain. First, breath sweet in the lungs, then the blessing of cool September air on skin, the crooked stick you and your dog wrestle with on the forest floor. Does time have mass and gravity, so it rolls down the transparent hours of day the way rain slides down a window? This particular morning, the tall, thin ghost walks with you a few paces, smiling at your delight when the first beads of drizzle blur your glasses. Of course, your hand passes through the ghosts. He tells you it's the thought that counts. Maybe. You don't want to count losses anymore. You haven't much time before you too tumble off wherever the dead go. A silver burble all life pours into, maybe. Right now, the path rises to meet your feet. Spawning salmon need rain. The firs, maples, salal, alders gasp with drought. Over half the sword ferns are crisped brown. You hold out your hand to them in love, command the rain, be generous. Stride faster, laughing at your own audacity. The whole island gets excited when it rains after a summer drought. People run around and they say to one another, look, did you see how green the trees are? Honest to God, overnight, it's just... So this is going back, this is a combination of poetry, piece, and just attempting to put oneself in I don't know, let's call it a place where you're listening to the divine. Witness. Caught between time and the sky, you're tethered to both pinwheels of light and the endless dark between galaxies. That's the arc of Heartline, love tossed up silver as spider silk. Your earthline goes through grass, cool under bare feet, descends all the way to the core. It anchors. In your garden, cosmos flowers lilt bright as dancing music. Their magenta pulls you up the last steep hill to where you've set a stone basin of water for juncos and bees. You are close to worshiping trees for their green thrust. But today there's no sun, only smoke. Seen from space, the planet wears wildflowers like amber. There's the void, black. There's our lovely world with its flares of orange showing up. Only those are blazes, tearing through the trees you are kin to, devouring houses, whole towns and islands with a ferocity that leaves you stripped of the ability to name. When all we can do is witness catastrophe without being able to stop it, do we draw energy from the wound of being alive? As our planet burns, despair says, choose me. Grief whispers, I'm your companion. Yet the knowing of good is as constant as gravity. So we persist. What can we do but comfort babies, put out fresh food for the hummingbirds, do our best to be the prayer that holds fast improbable tangles of yearning for the whole and holy? As in the beginning, so in the end, we look to the stars, affirm the small lives that flash through our field of vision. And so it is. So join me on November the 18th and hear some more of, and thank you very much for having this whole thing of the ZoomMuse Poems for Peace. I think it's a beautiful idea.